Welcome back, Warriors. We're so happy you're here with us today to talk about our next segment. And joining me here on the couch is our Lord and Savior, JC, once again. Welcome. I know you're here last session too,
here,
but
yeah.
you're still here, and we're so
Still here,
happy
yeah,
you
yeah.
are. That's amazing. And also, the queen of all animation, Vanessa, is here on the couch. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining us today. So, listen, Warriors, we brought two heavy hitters today to talk about a little gameplay improvement that we wanted to share with you all. We've received some comments here and there on Reddit for a little while. There's a lot. There's
a lot of space, right?
There's a lot. Yep. Okay, that's a lot of comments, but I mean, here it is. We're finally able to say we're removing Reflex Guard.
Gone.
Get out of here.
Finally.
Sorry,
we're very excited.
Yeah.
We are very excited to announce this today, to bring this to you. So yeah,
I've been waiting for so long.
We apologize for all the deceit and the subterfuge, but we're so happy to just bring this to you. So we want to dive in and talk a little bit more about this. But if you're maybe newer to For Honor, we kind of want to explain what this is to you. So what is Reflex Guard? Essentially, on our assassin heroes, Reflex Guard essentially was like, oh, if you have your guard in a direction, it slowly fades away and you go back to neutral. Whereas on a static guard, what you're seeing here is you just kind of hold your guard. Woo. And you don't have to worry about continuously refreshing that. So we know you've been asking for this for a while, and well, here it is. So yeah, starting next week with the launch of the season. No more Reflex Guard. So it's pretty big. So who does this affect to? So again, if you're newer with us, all of our assassins, the Peacekeeper, Orochi, Berserker, Gladiator, Nusha, Shinobi, Shaman, and Shalin, the one hybrid with Reflex Guard as well. So that's 8 heroes. No more Reflex Guard. It's done. It's done. So again, but it's great. But this is such a big deal for us. It's such a big change. We wanted to kind of share with you a bit about the journey, maybe give you a little background on like where this came from, and then like how we came to be here today with this. So to do that, JC, do you want to explain a bit about the history of Reflex?
Yeah. So it's a long, and complicated history, but essentially, just to start at the very, very beginning, right? I'm sure some of our viewers were there, and I think the very, very first closed beta that we did, where Reflex Guard was essentially, if you blocked last second, well, if you actually blocked with those assassin heroes, it would always deflect. That was a bit too strong, so that changed. It evolved over time, and ended up switching into what we have today in game. That will change next week, which is your Decaying Guard. So that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of stuff that happens there. We had at some point we had some heroes that had different timings for the Reflex Guard as well. Like I remember Gladiator had like a shorter time for it. Some heroes were like a bit longer. So we've changed those over the years, but we wanted to keep it. And so the initial thought behind Reflex Guard was that because you have Deflex, because you have another really bonus that we really thought back in the day was going to be really, really strong, which is you kind of hide your guard, right? So if when we saw in the video there, on live right now even, right? If you pick Orochi, for example, you switch your guard to the right, and then when it's over, you get back to the middle. And so if you lock onto somebody and that person did not see you switch your guard, they don't know which side the attack is going to come from. So that was one part of, well, this is actually a really, really good bonus, because then your opponents can't really match your stance. If you're playing against like Warden, for example, right now, you can, if you're locked onto them and they're locked onto you, you see what stance they're in all the time, so you can just match, and it makes blocking them a little bit easier. Now, as time went on, we found that that strength of Reflex Guard was not as effective as we wanted it to be. So that's one part of what's, well, yeah, okay. So the bonus, the benefit of having Reflex Guard doesn't really fit here that much. The other benefit that we used to have, that we got rid of a couple of years ago, was that if you had an assassin and you wanted to do an attack in a different stance, your guard switch delay, so the time you would take before you switch your stance and attacked, was 100 milliseconds. And for other heroes, it was 300. So we switched this like a while ago, I think like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that, where it was standardized at 100 MS for everybody, because it kind of impacted the static guard heroes a bit too much. So those were like the main benefits, but seeing as they're not real benefits, then what we're left with outside of Deflect, which is a good thing to have, is the bad things about reflex. And there's
drawback.
The drawback, right? And so the two main drawbacks are that first of all, you have to refresh your guard between every single hit. When you're in a group fight and a bunch of people are attacking you, there's indicators everywhere. It's really difficult to have to like block somebody and have to re-put it again.
It's
and
frustrating
again.
too because
Yeah,
you kind of do it, but it.
Yeah, and then
just-
sometimes you're like, oh, I did it, but it
Yeah,
happened
so
too
much
late
happened,
and
yeah.
stuff. So that's a bit difficult there. And then the other thing that's a bit trickier is that when that guard expires right now, like when we saw in those videos, like the little like the guard indicator kind of fades away. When it expires, there's a short window there where you absolutely cannot block anything. And so this is problematic because then at high level players are, and even like sometimes at a little bit lower level, it would happen to you randomly as well, where you could time attacks to land in that specific window when you were good enough to recognize it, and then your opponent just literally could not block. They absolutely had to dodge and create other issues.
You're like vulnerable.
Yeah, you're vulnerable for a little bit, and so that was the problem there. So at the end of the day, we went, well, okay, we actually need to remove reflex guard, right? We had a lot of people in the community have been wanting to remove it. Clearly, we've seen it for a while. We've been wanting to remove it for a
Yeah.
while as well. I think we started planning this like over 2 years ago.
Yep.
But as Vanessa can tell you, there's
It was a long
it's
journey.
not as simple as we would have liked.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's no button that just says,
Yeah.
hey, remove
I wish
reflex
at this
guard.
point
I
I
mean,
wish we had one, but no,
Yeah.
we had to.
It's again, it's a long. It was a bit of a journey too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to explain a bit about like what the impact was on for you and your team? And
Yeah, basically, I mean, we had to redo everything. In terms of animation, it was a pretty huge task. Of course, gameplay-wise, like there's complexity to do this, but it resides in the animation because we had to reshot all the navigation for each heroes. They navigate in their neutral stance, that we call them. But now we had to add more, like all their static stance in navigation. The thing is, player knows those characters. They've been playing them forever.
Yeah.
So they know how Orochi behave when
Yeah.
you walk and all of that. So we needed to keep that pace, that feels. It's a good thing that we still have the same actor, mocap actor,
Yeah.
so they have it in them, but it was pretty difficult because we had to redo the whole thing while keeping it still the same and the feeling. We didn't want to change the behavior of the character. We didn't want to do that. So just doing that was such a huge task. And every time we were doing something, we hit a blocker all the time because our graph are all connected, like in the campaign as well. And there's a lot of connectivity everywhere. And we changed stuff and we're like, oh no, it breaks something else. So it was, Nolan.
I know. I was there. For a bit of
That's
that.
the thing, right?
Yeah.
When you're not a game developer, when you're not like even like doing software, right? Like sometimes it looks like, oh yeah, it's super easy. You just change this and it's fine.
I wish.
But then
At this
things
point, I
have
wish.
knock-on effects, and it's not even like sometimes it's completely unpredictable. You have no idea what else is going to break when you touch something. So it's a tricky thing to really balance.
Just the
out.
fact that we work in parallel with like what the player has in
Yeah,
game right
yeah.
now, and we add more animation. I mean, it adds more on the weight on everything, so that caused memory issue.
Yeah.
All of that. It's all stuff that it's hard to foresee. Sometimes you have to be in it to be like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no, what's going on?
Yeah, and then like you've been working, like your team has been working on this on the
Yeah.
animation side for over a year.
More than that, because mocap. I think the mocap we shot it in March, not this year, but the year
March 2022,
before.
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we thought about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
mocap with this.
And
so
of course, the planning even started before that.
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, we
so
have been working on it.
yeah,
promise.
every time I saw those coming, I'm like, oh my god, it's coming! I swear. No, and it's and the thing is, we work on the navigation, yes, but we had to rework every animation,
Yeah.
every recovery. So every time we do an attack, we go back. Like when we mocap them, you do an attack, you go back to your stance, hidden stance for the neutral stance for Orochi, for example. But now we had to go back to those
Yeah.
attacks. We didn't have to remocap everything, but we had to rework with the mocap that we have for the navigation and go through the whole moveset, basically.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And at first we're like, oh, maybe we're not gonna see them too much, but we had to reopen
Yeah.
old animations.
The more we play tested them internally, the more we're like, okay, yeah, there's a glitch.
Yeah,
that looks
we
odd. That
see
looks
them,
odd. That
yeah.
looks odd. Yeah, so we would really, it was super visible. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the difference is there. So so it was pretty. Just even like opening an old animation made like I don't know 10 years ago, whatever. Like it's so. sometimes it just doesn't work. You cannot just
Yeah.
it's gone, and you're like, oh no, what do we do? So we had to figure it out, but we made it happen. It's done. I've been practicing the speech for over a year.
It's very
I'm so
true.
excited. I
great.
can cry. I'm very happy that the player can. You can wait a week.
Yeah, it's one more week.
Been waiting for a year.
One
You
more
can
week.
wait
Yeah.
a week
Yeah, you got
Great.
to
And I-
play. Yeah.
And I know like a lot of players were like, because I've been seeing on Reddit, I'm
Mhm.
on Reddit too much apparently, but a lot of it were people like, well, why don't you just set, the stance there like you did when you were in this
Yeah.
for like a super long time, like a minute or something, right?
Mhm.
But every single situation that we come up with, like, can we keep reflex guard as is and then tweak things? Broke other things.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, okay, yeah, but it doesn't. Like, let's say you keep it for a long time, it doesn't fix the issue of your guard disappearing.
Yeah.
And if you keep it for a super long time and your guard doesn't disappear when you block, then you might as well have a static guard, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
it's all of those little things that we looked at them. We really tried to go, can we keep this and just tweak it so that it's a bit easier on everybody? And
Mhm.
at the end, the end result was always, well, we might as well not have reflex guard. So
Yeah. We just had to redo it.
yeah, that's it, right? It's better to
Cleanly,
redo it and make sure that we're good. Yes, it standardizes things a little bit, but it ends up being way better.
It's for the
Yeah.
It's
It's
for
for the best, and
Yeah.
it's a big buff to all the assassins, right?
Yeah.
And we already know like characters like heroes like Berserker, for example, is already super strong. Might be a bit too strong now.
It's
I
gonna
don't know.
change
Maybe a little
everything.
strong.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
changed a lot of stuff. I know like some characters that are like not played as much because they're assassins, because they're a bit more frustrating to play.
We're gonna see so many new shit now.
Yeah, we're
Ah,
gonna see them everywhere.
Best girl, Nisha.
Right? So there's a lot of stuff.
So
Like,
happy.
of course, we're keeping an eye on balancing,
Yes.
making sure that things are okay there. But I'm really excited. Like, we've been playing with it
Yeah.
internally for a little bit now. Feels so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes all those assassins way better. And
And
Deflect
keep
still
keep an eye, like you just said, like I know on some emote we still have some. You might, if you do a combat emote, you might still see some residue of those animation. We're working on it. It's gonna be gone pretty soon, but we wanted the community to have it.
Yeah.
We're just can it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, yeah, it was.
Yeah, so if you see bugs or anything,
Yeah,
the emotes and
just
stuff,
yeah,
Yeah.
tell us. But we're all gonna clean that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want them gone for real.
Nah, for real. Yeah, it's absolutely a monumental change.
Mhm.
It's absolutely huge. And obviously, there were a lot of people who worked on this over the past, year, 2 years.
Yeah.
On this, specifically, do we want to
Yeah,
give
so
team
for us,
shout-outs
at
for
least like,
that?
on my side on the fight team, it's everyone on the world that's been on
Yeah.
the fight team for like the past 2 years. Everybody's touched it. Everybody's like worked on it a little bit,
Mm.
removing it, doing the data so that things are okay.
Yep.
But also, what was tricky for us, and what I think I have to give really big kudos to our team, is that while this was going on, the way under the hood that it was in, whenever changes were being done, we had to do them like twice, 3 times,
Yeah.
into like other things
Yeah.
to make sure things
Yeah.
would be carried over. And so that was a monumental task for everybody on the fight team.
It added on every other thing that
Yeah.
we're doing.
So like
Yeah.
every time we're doing a new hero, we're doing like reworks, whatever. It makes things a lot more complicated. It was a lot more work for us. But I'm super happy we're done, and I'm really thankful for the animation team, for Vanessa's team. They did an amazing
Yeah,
job as well.
the team did amazing. I mean, everyone at some point throughout those years to work on it. And don't forget, like we still had to ship all the content that we shipped
Yeah.
like in the past years.
And other heroes, another rework.
All of
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
other
happening at the same time that we
Yeah.
were doing that. So it's quite a lot. It added a lot. So big shout out to all the team, and also just for Kadem as well, one of our animators that worked
Yeah.
6 months straight on this feature
Yes.
only. We usually like rotate stuff, just you can work on everything, but specifically Kadem, thank you for this. It's a big one. I hope the community likes it. I mean, I'm so happy it's out now.
Yeah.
So happy that we can
course.
talk about it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
But even the tool team, everybody else. I mean,
Yeah.
all the blocker that we got. And
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the entire For Honor team
Yeah.
was involved in this in some shape
Yeah.
or form.
Mhm.
That's it. Like for tools, for code, for like
Yeah.
everything, right? So because it impacted so much more
Mhm.
than just we're just removing it in the data and we're doing animation.
If we add the button to
yeah.
remove the reflex
Yeah.
guard,
Yeah.
we're gonna use it if we have it, but we don't have it. So
Yeah.
no, we had to redo everything. So yeah.
Awesome. Well,
very
that's amazing. Well, thank you both very much. And community, again, one more week. You got one more week, so enjoy Reflex Guard for this next week, because September 14th, it's gone.
It's completely gone.
It's gone forever. No more posts about it, please. No,
No, we won't post about
okay, just put feedback.
the fact that
It's
you
good,
like
but
that.
Yeah,
no
that you're happy
reflex
that it's
guard.
not there
Yeah.
anymore.
can't ask us to
exactly.
remove it anymore because it's gone.
It's
Yep.
gone.
It's gonna be gone. It's gonna be amazing. So thank you very much, JC. Thank you very much, Vanessa.